Hey everyone, Mulligan here, and welcome back to Eternal Errors. For those new, this was a series where we would take a look at some mistakes I made during games and I'd educate others on what the correct decision is instead. We usually focused on a specific deck in each episode, but I've experimented with more off-the-wall topics in the past in an effort to keep things fresh. Anyway, with the homecoming meta coming to an end, I figured I'd do this episode on a Jennev Midrange deck that I took to the final Eternal Championship Qualifier that took place this past weekend. I admit this is a bit awkward since the last episode I did a long time ago focused on the old moment deck of the exact same factions, but I really wanted to take a look at some key mistakes I made during my qualifier run, so all the examples you'll see will be from that. I'll include an updated deck list with some small changes in the comment section for those that want to see it. Let's jump into it. The first game we'll be looking at is against Missing Toes, who is on Praxis Pledge. Things have been fairly even the whole game, with Missing Toes being proactive and me being able to keep up and start to swing the board back with the Surso I got from my market. On Missing Toes' turn, Heart of the Vault comes down and they actually attack with their Moonstone Vanguard. Let's quickly take a look at what happens next. Okay. That's why he did it. Alright, fine. That's why he did it. Cool.
A great fight!
I slipped there. There's no reason for Toes to even attack otherwise. Unfortunately, I got a little too confident, seeing that they were out of power, and played a little too quickly and snap blocked the Vanguard with Surso. Unfortunately, this cost me big time. The card that Missing Toes got from Heart of the Vault was a Shugo tactic that got reduced to 0 cost, making it free. Missing Toes smartly waits until after the Surso transformation goes off, and then pumps the 2/2 pig afterwards to trade with my Surso. If it was done before the transformation, Missing Toes would lose the buff from the tactic. And I really should have saw this coming. I still fully believe this block cost me the game because I had a pretty good setup with Howling Peak in hand. I would have cast Mirror Image off of Peak to copy Surso, since he's the toughest unit for Praxis Pledge to deal with in this matchup. Thinking back to how I was playing this game, when you're playing in events like an ECQ or any tournament, you really have to slow down your play, since playing fast means you end up in situations like this, which is something I always tell myself, but I didn't do that here when I needed to. This second game we're looking at might leave things open to a lot of discussion, but I wanted to take a look at it anyway. This is against Saphod, who is on a Karandon deck, but for a long time I had no idea what type of deck this could be. The first thing that came down from my opponent was a Sandstorm Titan, and then a Minotaur Ambassador. Then a Rabid Insect Master comes into play. This goes on for a while, and there isn't anything that really tips me off as to what deck this could be, until this turn here. Let's see what happens.
Think you can escape me?
The speaker approaches. Focus, child.
So finally, my opponent plays a card that gives away their deck, Voice of the Speaker. Unfortunately, I still didn't realize that this was Talir combo. Now, normally the key card in this matchup is Equivocate, since it lets you respond to Talir if the opponent plays a spell afterwards, like Last Chance or Dark Return. But I never drew it the whole game. I only had one piece of interaction in my hand, and that was Zenith Initiation to combo it with Surso. And my opponent would have given me the chance to respond to Talir with Initiation if I hadn't wasted it earlier on Rabid. The two takeaways here are that not only did I need to recognize that this was Talir combo from seeing the Voice of the Speaker, but I also needed to be greedy with the only piece of removal I had in my hand, since my hand was not good. Rabbit is strong, but I wasn't really in danger of dying yet. I just simply thought this was some big mid-range deck with Martyr's Chains as a top end, and didn't expect to clear combo at all. You could argue that Ravid should have tipped me off, or even Ambassador, and maybe I should have known when Ambassador was played, but not every list plays Ravid. The final game we'll be looking at today is against Induku, who's on Reanimator. At this point of the qualifier, if I lose one more game, I won't make top 64. So when Master Cartographer comes down, my heart just sinks because I know exactly what deck I'm up against. And Reanimator is definitely favored against Jennev Midrange. Now because of that, there is a specific turn where you have to do a specific thing as the Jennev Midrange player. So let's take a look at what I do here. Did they get a second one, is the question. If I'm not playing Cerso this turn, then I'm playing Strategize and then holding up Display. That's what we're doing. Okay, we have enough. And here is where I committed the ultimate sin, not assuming the beatdown role against Reanimator by playing Cerso and making them have the second Grasping of Shadows to win. It was the reason I grabbed Cerso from market in the first place. Instead, I chose the route to hold up counter magic, and we go on this really long back and forth for the rest of the game of me holding up counter magic to stop Grasping from getting played, which the Reanimator player is going to win every time because eventually they'll get to 8 power anyway and play Vara naturally. It's just a big giant game of chicken because Induku grabs Regent's Tomb from the market and I'm forced to use the display I was holding in order to counter Grasping to remove Tomb instead. I then grab Kalo's Choice from the market to keep this whole thing going. Then eventually Induku finds Back Alley Delinquent and Sabotage gets played while I have 4 power open, a display, and a Kalo's Choice in hand. And I decide to let it resolve just so I could hold up 4 power to counter Grasping. And the whole time I'm getting beat up by their little guys on the board. I finally end up losing on a turn where double Grasping gets played. Imagine if I had played Cerso when I was supposed to. If Induku had no Grasping there, I'd be in a much better position and could have potentially won the game off the back of Cerso alone. But anyway, you're the beatdown as the Jennev player versus Reanimator. You have to make them have the combo since you can't afford to hold up counter magic because it's just too expensive to do for this deck. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Eternal Errors. Feel free to leave a like if you liked the video. For those new to the series, if you like what you saw, feel free to check out my previous episodes by clicking the link on your screen. As always, if you don't want to miss future videos, subscribe to the channel. Clicking the bell icon under the video guarantees that you don't miss any future videos, as long as you don't mind notifications. Thanks again for taking time out of your day to watch this, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.